You're listening to Faith and Family, a Christian family community that aims to provide Christian advice and promote Christian values. I'm Mariel Gutierrez. We are talking about mom guilt. Who here feels guilty?
I do.
All
Right
the
here.
time.
Guilty right here.
I'm raising both hands.
So with me today are sleepy moms, tired moms, guilty moms. We kind of sound like the dwarfs, right? Guilty.
Yes.
Sleepy for sure.
I'm the sleepy, tired, and the guilty one.
Well, the sleepy, tired, guilty mom. So that's Emmerich, Jewel, and Bernie, of course. And today we're sharing some of the reasons why we feel guilty. What are ways to alleviate mom guilt? Are there even ways? And why and how does our faith help us to be better at momming? And how to use mom guilt to guide us? Okay, so let's just get to it. What are some things that make us feel guilty as moms?
I think for me, I feel guilt. I work from home, so that gives me the opportunity to take care of my son. And there are times when I'm in the middle of a project, and he is in the back like mom, mommy, mom, and at first I'm kind of like, okay, and then all of a sudden, will you just stop it? So I'm a yeller. I feel guilty because I feel like I yell too much, and I know that's like not healthy and good, but there are times I'm like, and then after I do that, he kind of gives you that face like, what is what? Like, the sad face.
Yes.
So I'm just like,
sad
okay,
eyes.
yeah. I know, son, I'm totally horrible. So for me, that's when the guilt kicks in, is when I start yelling. One of the reasons, one of the times. So
I feel the same way. I have older kids now, so I'm trying to, in the beginning you do a lot for your kids, and now I'm trying to make sure that they can do a lot of things for themselves. So I feel guilty when I do too much for them, and then I feel guilty when I don't do enough for them. And so it's like a double-edged sword. I'm just filled with the guilt. I feel guilty when I've lectured them too much and they're just tired of hearing my voice. And then I feel guilty when, did I lecture enough? Did I say enough? So it's just, I'm always feeling guilty. And I feel guilty because they aren't good at doing chores. And I'm like, is this my fault? Am I doing something wrong? But seriously, how many different ways can you explain how to do laundry? I don't know, So
Wait, you feel guilty that they're not good at chores?
Yeah, I know. Isn't it weird? It's like they're not good at it, and I feel guilty because I'm thinking maybe I didn't tell them the right way, or I'm not showing them the right way. I don't know. It's just all guiltiness.
How about you, Jewel?
Well, I feel guilty. There are days when I work long hours away from home. And so by the time I get home, I don't want my kids to wait for me to do their homework. And so Harmony and I had agreed that since he works from home, that he'll help them with their homework, and he does an amazing job. I mean, they're on point. They get their homework done. But of course, there's that part of me that's like, that's supposed to be me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the one supposed to be helping them, but it's a never-ending guilty feeling, but it's something that that he and I agreed on doing. But of course, there's that like, hey, mom's supposed to be helping me in doing my homework. One time we actually asked the kids, what do you like about, we asked the kids, what do you love daddy for? And they're like, oh, he helps us with our homework, but and never an answer for when it comes to mommy, and so, and it's like, of course I feel guilty, but it's I guess it's one of those things as a sacrifice we have to do as a couple, as a team. And so so when I get home, then I could actually just focus on being with them, and or if I come home late, their homework is done already. So
Mm.
Yeah, you should be happy about that, right?
I
But I
know,
get
but
it
see,
because that happens to me too sometimes. It's like I should be happy about something that, my husband helped with or my mom helped with, and but then when it's not me, I'm like, I feel guilty.
Aw.
It's weird. It's weird.
I could relate with all of that. I think at certain like phases in my kids' life, I've felt different kinds of guilt. I don't know if I've ever felt bad that my kids weren't good at chores. Sorry,
Are your
Emmerich.
kids good at chores? I don't know. I don't know. I take their failures
Oh,
personally,
there you go.
like
Yeah.
if they're not doing something that I feel like I should have guided them
Right.
and they're not doing it the way they should be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel
I
kind of
don't know. I'm
guilty.
just glad if they can actually do chores.
Right?
Like if they roll up that t-shirt and call it folding, I'm good.
Oh
I'm
my
Good.
good.
gosh, it's like really you call this folding? I make them watch YouTube videos on it. I do my own demonstrations, and I'm like, how come you
You
can't
need to
fold
get
it
them that
straight?
that cardboard thing. Have you seen
Oh,
that
that's
cardboard
right.
thing that helps you like
Yes.
fold the shirts? There you
I've
go,
seen
girl.
that. Yeah, I think they could mess that up too. I don't know. And I think they do it on purpose,
Yeah.
actually.
You guys ever feel bad though, like for having you time? Because for me, that's kind of where
Mm.
I'm at right now. Like lately, I've been trying to take care of myself. I've put myself off for a very long time. Like
yeah.
gained the weight, didn't have time to work out, or didn't make time really. There's definitely a part of me that's like, you're spending money on like how much is this mascara, for yourself when you could very well be like, I don't take it to the point where like, oh, that's food from your kids or anything like that. No, it's not like that. But I do feel guilty that, that time and that thought is going towards myself. You guys ever feel that way?
I'm totally in your stage right now, Marv,
Yeah.
where I'm all about me right now.
Yeah.
Like I actually had a very like because I do a lot of self reflection. Why am I depressed? Why am I
Right.
like this? That and it really is because you you
You're not
you
taking care of
give
yourself
your
enough.
you don't take care of yourself. Before we were married, we would always fix ourselves up. Our hair is so nice, and then I look at my pictures, like my first years of my kids. Oh my gosh, who in the heck is that lady? And so I'm totally in that stage. I get my hair did, I get my nails
Mm-hmm.
done,
Mm-hmm.
and so I take the time to put makeup on now. So I don't feel guilty.
Well,
I have to admit,
I don't know. That's a hard one, and because you have to take care of yourself. Because
yes,
if you are in a good state of mind, and if you're feeling
Yes.
positive and
Yes.
you're healthy, then you take care of your family better. So I guess there's that balance. You're looking, am I crossing the balance? Am I too much, into myself and not enough into my kids? So yeah, we ask ourselves those crazy questions all the time, trying to put
So,
ourselves
but
on
there
check.
is a point though when your guilt becomes in vain, right? Where it's like you're not doing anything but being guilty, and it
Yeah.
becomes
Right.
productive, right?
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess there are like a lot of reasons why obviously we feel guilt, many different reasons. But and I get that we can end up blaming ourselves for a lot of things, especially as moms. We're more emotional. We tend to be more emotional, right? More sensitive. But is that like the standard for our parenting? Because we want to be different from our parents? Like, how do we deal with the mom guilt?
I cry in the shower. I cry in the shower,
Oh
the
my God.
car. So those moments when you have a little bit of that
What's the song
quiet.
playing when you cry in the shower? Sorry, it's just like
With violin music in the
slow-mo,
background.
mascara running.
It's the steam girl, all of us, because that's where
Oh,
the bathroom is where we do most of our thinking, I guess.
that's true.
Right? And so
Yeah.
when I've had just actually that's where I go when I do need to cry because it doesn't seem like like the steam will kind of like lower down the puffiness of your eyes, but and I also pray, I also pray to God that like just please don't let me just start to lose myself,
Yeah.
and I pray to Him to show me any sign, whatever sign it may be, that I am not this horrible mom, and that I'm doing okay, that I'm doing all right. And there have been, and I've mentioned this before, there have been occasions where my son will just out of nowhere, and I don't know, I don't know if it's because he senses it. He's really good at sensing when something's up.
Kids
And
are good at sensing our emotions.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and he can tell. I don't really, and sometimes I don't say anything, but he could just tell from my body language. And sometimes he'll tell me, he goes, "You know what, Mom? You're a good mom. Look at me. Let me see that smiling face. Can I get a hug?"
Aww.
So
Cute.
I am gonna take that as a sign that that is God's way of telling me that I'm doing all right. So,
And it is. I believe it is. Yes.
yeah,
Oh, that's sweet. That melts it all away.
You
I
know,
The
know,
mom guilt. Or
so
it
I'm
adds to the mom guilt.
right?
She's taking like 3 showers a day.
for me, how I deal with the guilty feeling, I feel like my kids are a little older now. They could comprehend a little bit more, at least my first two. So I communicate like my schedule with my kids,
Yeah.
and there's days that I actually I do believe that parents need to show their vulnerability to their children. Like I know we should always be strong and all of this, but when you show like, hey kids, I'm so like I'm overwhelmed. I really need to concentrate, like, and I'm tired, but I have this
Right.
project I have to do. My kids, just like yours, my kids will cheer me on. Like the other night,
Yeah.
I had homework to, I call it homework, so I feel like we're the same. I call it homework, which is I had to work on a project. But I'm like, oh my gosh, but I'm so tired. And then Jan's like, mommy, you gotta stay up. Like you have to, don't fall asleep. So it's like then they cheer you on because they want you to succeed. They want you to do whatever it is you need to do. And so when they do that, then they understand more that things need to get done. So I show my vulnerability a lot to my kids because when I do that, they become my strength. And
Girl.
I think that's kind of how I lessen my guilt. I help my children understand my situation so that they're more understanding. When I do my weekly visits to my kids at school, I verbalize it. I say, gosh, even though mommy's so busy, we daddy and mommy always takes time to make time for you guys. You guys are so important. So
Yeah.
it I think because me and Harmisa has such a busy schedule, like all of us, I think too they understand that, but they will always feel that they're most important. So I think it's really communicating it, verbalizing it. It really helps, like, for our kids to understand that yeah, they're busy, but they're not, it's not like they don't love us. So I feel that's how I deal with the guilty feeling.
I think it's good for kids to see you busy as well.
Yes.
I think it's good for kids to see parents working hard
Yes.
and success as a result of that hard work, because that's real life, and so
Yes.
you exemplify that, and I think you help your kids. But yeah, you can't take away the guilt because it's, I don't know, it's like this fine line. You want to show them you're working hard and you're doing all these things, but at the same time you want to spend time with them. So it's like, it's crazy, the guilt. One way that I deal with my mom guilt is I accept the fact that I'm not perfect, and that I'm doing my best, and I just really pray. I ask God to protect my kids from my mistakes as a mom. I ask, that's one of my daily prayers too. Like, if I've made a mistake, if I've done something, wrong in my parenting, to protect them from those errors, and help it not be a disaster for their future. Because I know I'm not perfect, but I have faith that God will recognize my efforts and help them to rise above despite my crazy mothering ways. It's one way I deal with my guilt.
Do
I
you,
just talk to God all the time. I'm like, oh no, please help me. That's one way I deal with it. I just put it in God's hands.
Okay, well, okay, so then a question to everyone. With you having just said that you put it in God's hands, like, how do you think faith or our faith guides the way we parent?
Well, if I acted on pure emotions, I would feel really sorry for my kids because I would probably be yelling like crazy all the time out of
Yeah.
frustration and impatience and just, seriously, because one, I'm a very emotional person. So if you drive me crazy, you're gonna see my craziness, And so, but it's true. Like how our faith guides us is, we're taught to lead with love, and so you're taught to lead by example. So you're taught to pray for the qualities that you need, and so I like what we've said before, we try to start off our day with a devotional prayer. Please give me the qualities that I need to be a good mother, a good wife, and it serves as a reminder of how you need to be, And so I think, and also being around Christian moms, I love being surrounded by other Christian moms of how they handled their stress level with their children, how they overcome the guilt. And so being around that kind of village, that kind of community really helps. So having that same faith, being surrounded by that, it really, really helps.
Yeah. I think like our faith doesn't just guide us, as parents, but it also guides our kids, right?
Yes.
Right.
I
Yes.
think
For
if,
sure.
when we worship together, when our kids hear the words of God, they're taught to be honest, generous, loyal, kind, obedience. So our kids don't only get reminders in the house, but they get it at church too. And I think they're learning and they know that God is the ultimate parent, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So they're more inclined to listen.
God supersedes mom.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually say that to my kids, I'm like, if mom is telling you something that is against the words of God, or dad is telling you something that's against the words of God, you don't follow us in those instances. You follow what God says. So I just wanted to add that because you said God is the ultimate parent.
He is.
Truth though, that's the truth.
Yeah.
With all of that said, right? Does this mom guilt ever really go away?
I would say no.
And
It never
I
goes away. I
agree
think
with that.
even when I'm an old lady, 90 years old, I might have grandmother guilt.
Oh,
Okay, we won't go there. But I don't think it's going to go away, and I think we should accept it for what it is, because mom guilt does serve a function. It functions to make us better moms.
Yes.
And it helps
Love
us
it.
to like check ourselves and to reflect. So I think it's good, and I think we need to evaluate the guilt, and we need to ask ourselves, is there something I need to change? Or is this something I have no control over?
Right.
And then then make the necessary adjustments if you need to. And if it's not something that you need to change, then just find peace in things you can't control.
yeah.
So I
Yeah,
don't think
totally
it's
agree
going to
with
go
that.
away.
And just having that mom guilt, it just proves how much love you have.
Yes.
So we're just filled with so much love that it's like, you're right, it does serve as a function.
Because you want to be perfect, and you're right, Jewel, because you do love your kids so much that you want to be this perfect parent. And so when you reflect and you
Yes.
your head tells you, your crazy mind tells you you're not perfect, then you feel guilty. Yeah, and I wouldn't say you shouldn't feel guilty, although you probably shouldn't feel guilty. But I'm just saying it's nice to reflect.
Yes.
And it's nice to look and examine yourself and make changes if you need to.
No, I totally agree with you when you said that it keeps you in check, right? Because we have to be aware of it and think, is it warranted or not, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
yeah, definitely like taking into accountability, like maybe when was the last time I spent one-on-one time with my kids? Is this why I feel guilty working overtime?
Yeah.
Like, I think you have to account for the facts versus like the feelings,
Yes.
right?
No, absolutely, yes. Because the mom guilt does sometimes you should feel guilty and sometimes you should make changes, you
Yes.
know? So it's good that it's there, but like, don't let it consume you too much.
Yeah.
Right.
Be-
Correct. Correct.
because there are some things that don't need to change either, and you're doing the best job you can, and you do need to make time for yourself. You shouldn't feel guilty about that. Like we said earlier, you know, like when you're in your best emotional state, when you are healthy, and I think you have a better mindset to take care of your
You know,
family.
since Jojo was born, it's been hard not to feel guilty. I mean, I feel guilty about even the most smallest thing, like not giving him that last cookie,
Oh.
and then I
Why did
just
you eat it?
right, and I just shove that thing in my mouth, and then he's like, "What's in your mouth?" I'm like, "Oh, it's something spicy. Let me smell your breath. Let me smell your breath." You know, it's
it's okay.
spicy
I've done that
chocolate. You
Oh,
know,
you're
but
not gonna like this. This is gross. It's
this is
just
that's what I
vegetable.
do.
I
This
just
is
ate your last broccoli.
yeah, that's what I said. This is a broccoli cookie. This is a you know, but I also realized that when we do feel this guilt, that it also shows, just like what we all agree upon, that we care and that we love deeply. We love hard for our children
Yes,
because we
so
want what's best for them. So I would worry if I just didn't feel guilty about anything.
Yes,
It's-
exactly.
the mom guilt, it keeps us on our toes, and just like what you said, Emmerich, helps us reflect. It could, should I change something, or is it something I just let go of? So, mom guilt is real, y'all.
Yeah. Don't let it kill you.
Right?
Don't
Don't let it kill
don't
you.
die from mom guilt.
Hashtag death by mom guilt.
It's gonna say on your tombstone.
All right. Well, all you moms out there, guilt's always going to be with us. I think we can agree with that, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So we don't have to embrace it, but like what
Right.
the other mom said, it keeps us in check, right?
Yes.
So if your kid is happy, fed, clean, alive, I think we're doing okay, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good
Those
standard.
are, those are good standards right there.
I mean, I can't
And
even,
can read.
I can't even do 4 out of 4 sometimes out of all of those.
The clean one, I can't guarantee the clean one.
Right.
Alive is good. Alive, right? Okay. So, mamas out there, keep doing what you're doing, okay? And at the end of the day, if you gotta cry, go take a shower, take 2, 3, 4, like Bernie, and cry. We cry. Yeah, we cry in the shower, on the drive home, on the drive to work, on the drive to the spa.
Yes.
Sometimes while we eat, before we sleep, but it's okay. And you know what? It's gonna be okay.
Gonna
So
be
I want
okay.
to thank the ladies who are here with us tonight, sharing the stories, advice, support. Well, thank you so much for listening to us on this episode of Tired Moms on Faith and Family.